Hello, everyone. Well, yesterday evening, I was in a way surprised by a very interesting open letter that I read in the biggest German daily paper called Bild. It's very big. I think they have a daily number of copies of something like 2 million. 2 million. If I'm not wrong, actually, they are the biggest in Europe, biggest newspaper in Europe, still printed on paper. Also have an online version. Yeah, and the editor-in-chief of this newspaper, I think his name is Julian Reichelt. Yeah, and he sent a letter, open letter, to Xi Jinping, the president and party boss of China. Very interesting. Well, the background of it is actually this newspaper has been reporting about how the world is suffering from this pandemic. Many people lost their life and huge economic losses. And all this, the major reason is because the China's cover up or CCP cover up. So he was actually also suggesting that it is absolutely right that to demand a Chinese government for compensation. Because of this point of view, he got an open letter from the Chinese ambassador in Germany, accusing this editor-in-chief that he is a nationalist, he's a scandalous nationalist, not terrible, you know. And so that's why he said, I have to give a response. And actually he didn't write back to the ambassador, but straight away to the president and party boss of China, Xi Jinping.
Sehr geehrter Herr Präsident Xi Jinping.
And the title of the letter is already, in a way, I would say, shocking or powerful. He said, "You are endangering the world." He said it to Xi Jinping, yeah, to the Chinese president. And what he's basically in his letter said is, he pointed out all this covering up that led to so many people died, unnecessary, and the huge economic losses. He even demanded the president of China to give an explanation to all the widows and all the people who have lost their loved one because of coronavirus, and to give explanation and of course a compensation. It is, you guys can check this open letter. It's interesting to read it. It's online, yeah. And actually, he ended his letter in a quite powerful way. He said,
Sie wollen China stärken durch eine solche.
"You plan to strengthen China through a plague that you exported. You will not succeed. Corona will be your political end sooner or later." Now let's look at the situation of the coronavirus, particularly in China. One thing I also found it very interesting, you all remember, many times, very, very early, I point out that never believe in the statistic of the CCP or Chinese government. Yeah, it doesn't matter when it comes to a number of deaths or number of infected. They are all fake. Yeah, because I know the statistic in China is there to serve politics, not to reflect the truth. And so I have always been claiming that number of deaths in China is just far too low. Now what happened is, recently, they have adjusted the statistic. Suddenly, instead of claiming all the time, for weeks, they have been saying, since I think the 3rd of April, they have been saying that, the number of deaths in the whole huge China is something like 3,330, And yesterday they say, 4,600 is the number of deaths. Not that someone recently died, but they say, we make some mistake and we make some adjustment. So this is typical. They never admit it. The party never make mistake. You guys should understand. They probably blame on some person who has been making some mistake in the statistics, so now they adjust it. But hey, this is only psychological manipulation. even if they adjust the figure with 1,000 more deaths, yeah, it doesn't mean that they are telling you the truth. Yeah, they are hoping that you believe this is now true. No, as I claim all the time, that the real figure of number of deaths, not only me claim it, many scientists and politicians now all around the world, yeah, is probably somewhere between 10 to 40 times bigger, the real figure, than what they officially announce. This is really something that, without any feeling for responsibility for humanity. And the situation in China is absolutely not as the propaganda say, everything under control now, basically no more infection and very little new deaths and so on and so on. But recent information tell us, unfortunately, something opposite. Why they claim that the number of infected people reduce, yeah? But how come that they are building in high speed urgency hospital in Harbin, in Guangzhou, in Chengdu, in Wuhan, all are building emergency hospital, I call it, yeah, or they call it in Chinese, they call it, I think, container hospital or something like that, yeah, 方舱医院, there's some modular hospital that you quickly can build up. It's not actually a real hospital. It's just a place where you put infected people in. And that is, unfortunately, the cold, real fact. So I won't be surprised if we are, seeing the coming of a second outbreak in China. In the same time, the propaganda in China is not only telling the Chinese people, oh, everything is fine, and you can go back to work and so on. They actually continue in the propaganda, claiming that this Wuhan virus or CCP virus is coming from America. It's very interesting. Huh? The ambassador, like China's ambassador in US, or their international media outlet like Global Time. Yeah? As I mentioned before, they talked recently, the last 10 days or so, cooperation. China and US cooperate, yeah? And they stopped talking about the virus coming from America. But inside China, they still claim that it is from America. And frightening is, according to Radio Free Asia, they have made an investigation that absolute majority, I guess 70 to 80% of the Chinese people believe in their theory. Well, don't blame the Chinese. Don't say that, oh, how can they be so stupid to believe that? They have no chance. If you and me are born in China and grown up there, and it's a society, there's totally no transparency. You have no freedom of speech, no freedom of press. The only information source are always controlled by the party. So basically, single source of information. So no wonder that 70, 80% of people only heard about the propaganda. But the danger here is when 70% of the population believe that it is the American who put this virus to us in China. What happened? What the Chinese Communist Party is doing is to sow hatred in the people. And imagine 70%, is 1 billion people hate America and hate everything associated to America, including maybe also Western Europe. Huh? What happened? That means this hatred will, of course, bring into action. And hatred belongs to one of the most negative energy you ever can find in our world or in the whole universe. So when 1 million people full of hatred, they will do a lot of evil things, even if they think themselves they are doing good things. But I don't blame the people. They are just the victims of this totalitarian regime. That's what I want to remind also all Chinese about that. Wake up. Don't let yourself be a slave of a totalitarian regime. So much for today, and thank you for listening. If you like it, don't forget, click subscribe, like, share with your friends and relatives. Thank you. Bye-bye.